In today's Farm Report, calving season can be a busy time for beef producers, and they may have some issues with first time heifers calving. Emily Wilmus with the University of Minnesota Extension Service Office shares some tips on how to make sure that the first time heifers stay healthy and calve easy.
Many beef producers are currently in the middle of calving season. It's a big job and is certainly a tough one when working with first calf heifers. This group is undergoing a tremendous amount of change and stress, and it's important that beef producers are doing everything they can to take good care of their first calf heifers and keep them in good shape. Erica Berstrom, University of Wisconsin Extension Egg Specialist, offers 10 strategies to help first calf heifers wean a bigger calf, breed back sooner, and improve longevity. 1. Graze first calf heifers and mature cows separately. Graze first calf heifers either with 3-year-olds or virgin replacement heifers. 2. Always give heifers the best quality pasture available. 3. Supplement first calf heifers with grain like corn, corn silage, or barley before they lose body condition. Thin heifers won't breed back quickly, if at all. 4. Wean calves off heifers at 5 to 6 months of age. 5. If heifers are thin at calving, calves may need to be weaned extra early. 6. Keep a high-quality, complete mineral available for first calf heifers. 7. Use strategic deworming programs for young cows. 8. Control external parasites. 9. Calve heifers 3 to 4 weeks before the cows calve. The special time devoted to only heifers will allow you to focus on potential calving issues and recruit extra help if needed. And finally, 10. Keep a close eye on body condition score. With some extra care and attention, your bred heifers will make it past the first calving season and better weather the major stressors that come with birthing their first calf and rebreeding on a timely basis. Keep these considerations in mind so bred heifers stay in the herd for years to come. This is Emily Wilmus with University of Minnesota Extension.
With record crop and livestock production forecast and lower prices coming down from recent record highs as a result, what does that mean for producers short term and long? USDA economist Paul Westcott recently told an audience at this year's Agricultural Outlook Forum that with current and near-term market adjustments trending lower,
that's triggering supply response on both crops and the livestock sectors.
Yet market development is expected to continue over the next 10 years due to underlying market supply and demand factors, such as an increase in global population and a demand for food. So Westcott says with that in mind,
the implications of this type of near-term adjustment and then longer-term developments is that prices are projected to bottom out in the next several years and then begin to increase gradually.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Stockmanship, or the proper way of handling animals, is important to ensure that cattle comfort and safety is maintained on the livestock operation. Emily Wilmus with the University of Minnesota Extension Service Office talks more about this.
In previous radio segments, I've spent some time talking about stockmanship. As you may remember, stockmanship is the knowledgeable and skillful handling of livestock in a safe, efficient, effective, and low-stress manner. Stockmanship is applicable to all livestock: beef and dairy cattle, horses, pigs, sheep, and goats. There are 4 basic principles of stockmanship. The animal wants to see you, the animal wants to go around you, the animal wants to go be around other animals, and the animal can only think of one thing at a time. Today, I'd like to talk about some general stockmanship and safe transporting of animals. Now, most of this may seem like a no-brainer, but I think it's always helpful to be reminded on how to safely handle our animals. Remember, when leading an animal, even though you have the halter, the animal is still in charge. Lead at a comfortable, normal pace for the animal. Try not to pull on the animals; it can hurt their neck and will cause them to not cooperate. Avoid making any sudden movements or loud noises to prevent startling the animal. If you're halter breaking an animal for the show ring, remember that they get tired too, so don't overdo it. When transporting animals, there are a lot of safety precautions to keep in mind. Carrying livestock is a difficult load for a truck to handle. There are several steps you can take to ensure you and your animals arrive safely when you're transporting them. Before loading the livestock, step into the trailer and look for any hazards. These could include loose boards, protruding nails, and any garbage. While in there, also consider the floor. You may want to add bedding in order to prevent slipping. If possible, cover the trailer during inclement weather conditions. Be sure there's always at least 2 people loading the trailer, and ensure you are distributing weight evenly along the sides. While on the road, make sure you don't feel tired or fatigued. Be sure to pay attention on the road, as moving livestock can shift the trailer's balance. I hope you all take the necessary steps to ensure safety for yourself and your animals. If you have any questions, please call me at the Stearns County Extension Office at 320-255-6169. This is Emily Wilmus with University of Minnesota Extension.
This week's Consumer Price Index report shows a 0.4% rise in consumer prices for all goods during February. However, that same index for food, totally different story.
We actually paid 0.1% less for groceries in February than we did in January.
All right, but Agriculture Department economist Anne-Marie Kuhn says food prices overall last month were still 2.9% higher than February 1 year ago, but still a decline overall in food of almost 0.5% is nothing to sneeze at. Why you would want to sneeze at anything, I don't know. But anyway, prices for a lot of products falling last month.
In February did decline for pork. We saw declines in prices for fish and seafood, dairy, fats and oils, fresh fruits and vegetables, as well as cereal and bakery products.
But another sizable increase in beef, 0.7%, leaving average beef prices 15% higher than a year ago at this time. We also saw price hikes last month for poultry, eggs, and sugar. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.
The Agricultural Act of 2014, commonly referred to as the Farm Bill, created a new conservation program, the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program, and combined several previous programs run by the USDA. Rod Bain with the U.S. Department of Agriculture has more.
One conservation tool available for landowners is conservation easements. And in the past, USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service offered a variety of easement programs.
The Wetlands Reserve Program, the Farm and Ranch Land Protection Program, and the Grasslands Reserve Program.
But Jessica Groves of NRCS says thanks to the new Farm Bill, these programs are merging into one singular entity, the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program, ACEP.
The new ACEP program has 2 components. It has the Wetland Reserve Easement component, which takes in the purposes and functions of the former Wetland Reserve program. And it has an agricultural land component that takes in the functions and purposes of the Grassland Reserve program and the Farm and Ranch Land Protection program.
Now, in addition to existing aspects of the previous conservation easement programs, Groves says ACEP will contain some new features.
When ACEP combined the functions of the Farm and Ranch Land Program and the functions of the Grassland Program, those 2 provisions had to all be combined. So there's a new provision, for example, on grasslands of special environmental significance, that those lands that have grasslands of special environmental significance can receive a higher cost share rate.
USDA is now accepting public comment through April 28th on the interim final rule that will oversee the new program.
We did include quite a few provisions in the interim rule to try to streamline and increase the transparency, specifically of the agricultural land easement transactions. So we definitely are encouraging people to provide comments on what we have introduced in effort to make that a more usable, user-friendly, and accessible program.
The interim final rule on ACEP is published in the Federal Register. One way public comment can be submitted is by going online to www.regulations.gov. Look for the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program. And for more information about ACEP, go to this web address, www.nrcs.usda.gov. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Lawmakers don't want government farm support payments to go to people who are not actively engaged in the farm operation. But what does that mean? Who falls into the category and who doesn't? Congress asked Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack to figure that out. He has now. USDA issuing this week a proposed rule.
It's understandable, that makes sense for what happens in the real world, but also allows us to strengthen the integrity of the safety net program.
A rule, Vilsack says, follows directions given by Congress that family farms and such not be affected by this.
So that's a relatively small universe that's defined primarily by partnerships. Those who are in limited or general partnerships in a farming operation may be impacted by the decisions that we make.
For example, non-family joint ventures, general partnerships are going to have to show that their farm managers are spending at least 25% of their time operating the farm before those managers could qualify for USDA Farm Program payments. And there are other rules and regs in there. USDA taking public comments on the proposal until May 26th. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.